building yourself a pretty hot engine, pretty much applies to any engine, but we'll talk about small block Chevys here, since that's what's in front of me. But first, I ought to consider running a big oil pan, as big as, which really this is a 7-quart. These fuckers will do the trick for 9 out of 10 applications. And they'll fit in most shit. The starter will go in there pretty much no problem, especially if you're running a mini starter. That's a 7-quart low profile. That big motherfucker on that one, that's an old, I think it's like a 9-quart Moroso from the 70s. Big deep sump bastard. But the thing is, put a big fucking oil pan like that on your engine, even though that son of a bitch might hold 9 quarts, you don't want to put 9 quarts of fucking oil in that thing. It'd be way too fucking much. Like these 7-quart units here, I usually run 5 quarts in them. A small block Chevy, 5 quarts of oil is fucking plenty. You know, GM wasn't stupid. And 5 quarts of oil, I've been building these fuckers for a long time. And 5 quarts of oil seems to be plenty for a small block Chevy. I like about 6 quarts in a big block. But a small block, 5 quarts is enough. It ain't the increased oil capacity that you benefit from, it's getting the fucking oil away from the rotating assembly. That's the idea behind the increased capacity. Like a big deep sump fucker over there, you know, at 9-quart pan, you put 5 in it. That fucking oil's pretty far away from the crank and shit. And 5 quarts in this 7-quart pan, it drops it down, you know, a couple of inches from where it would be if you filled it up. But you don't need 7 quarts of fucking oil for a small block Chevy. It's way too much. 5 quarts is fucking plenty. Now, this is a 5-quart pan. It's been around for a while. One person could put 5 in the pan and then another quart in a filter for a total of 6. But there again, you only need about 5 quarts in these motherfuckers. That's an old ass pan there. Them fuckers are cool and they get the oil way the fuck away from the crank. But they hang down pretty far. And if you got it in a lowered Camaro or some shit, you're liable to drag that sump across something. Parking block, or you know, dip in the street, you know, drive it on the fucking street. There's a pair of 90-10 drag shocks, you know, take a lot of that out, but still with that sump hanging down below that cross member, there's definitely a chance. Them fuckers are really better on like gassers and shit, or cars that are pretty high ride height, trucks. I think they still make them things, but that one there is probably 45 plus years old. I believe it's late 70s, 77, 78. But it's all about getting the oil away from the crank. That's your main benefit from running a big fucking pan. It's not so you can dump 7, 8, or 8 quarts of oil in that fucking thing. You got this old mallet in here. I think that's a 7 quart. Made for a Chevy 2. Like a 65, 66 Chevy 2. But they also work in S10s and shit. Pretty good old pan. That one's probably from the 80s or so, late 80s. So it's been around for a minute. Old Maladin. But that fucker has got some sag on it too. It hangs down pretty good, so you don't want to put it on no lowrider like a 67 Camaro that's dropped way down in the front. The fucker will definitely end up dragging. That's a good thing about these low profiles here. You get the extra capacity, and these fuckers are about as deep as a stock pan. There you go. A few words on oil pans.